10 years of war produced more than 130,000 dead and an estimated 4 million forced from their homes. The country that produced this catastrophe had existed peacefully for 35 years. Its 23 million citizens carried the same passport, watched the same television, and vacationed on the same coast. Then, they killed each other in numbers not seen in Europe since 1945. The country was called Yugoslavia. Today, it appears on no map. Its territory is divided into 7 independent states, which are Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Montenegro, North Macedonia, and Kosovo. In every classroom of the vanished country, one phrase was stamped above the blackboard. The phrase was Bratstvo I jedinstvo, which means brotherhood and unity. A white ship rusts today in the harbor of Rijeka. Its name is Galeb, meaning seagull. Its owner is dead, and so is his country. How does a nation of 23 million people, one of Europe's largest military powers, disappear inside a single decade? To understand how a country of that size vanishes, we have to go back to the year it was assembled, and to the man who assembled it. In 1918, the First World War ended. On the 1st of December that year, in Belgrade, a new state was proclaimed, called the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. On the 3rd of October, 1929, King Alexander abolished the constitution, imposed personal rule, and renamed the country Yugoslavia, meaning the land of the South Slavs. The Second World War tore it apart. The Ustash ran the Nazi-installed independent state of Croatia. Serbian Chetniks fought for the exiled monarchy and, in later stages of the war, collaborated with Axis forces. A third faction, led by a communist partisan named Josip Broz, who called himself Tito, fought the Germans from the mountains under a slogan of his own invention, which was Brotherhood and Unity. He won. On the 29th of November, 1945, the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia was born. It contained 6 republics and 2 autonomous provinces, Kosovo and Vojvodina, inside Serbia. Then, on the 28th of June, 1948, Joseph Stalin expelled Yugoslavia from the Cominform. Tito refused to bow, and his answer was Goli Otok. The name means naked island. It is a limestone slab in the northern Adriatic, 4.5 square kilometers wide, with no trees and no drinking water, exposed to winds of 150 kilometers per hour. In July of 1949, the first boat arrived. On board was a 17-year-old Slovenian named Radovan Hrast, born in 1931. Arrested for a critical remark against the government. He was assigned prisoner number 1 in the first contingent. Some 16,000 Yugoslavs followed him to the island. 413 did not leave. For 35 years, one man's authority held the pieces in place. On the 4th of May, 1980, that authority stopped breathing. Josip Broz Tito died in Ljubljana at 3:05 in the afternoon, 3 days short of his 88th birthday. His funeral on the 8th of May was the largest state funeral in history. It drew delegations from 128 countries, including 4 kings, 31 presidents, and 22 prime ministers. Leonid Brezhnev stood beside Margaret Thatcher. Hua Guofeng stood beside Erich Honecker. They did not speak. A collective presidency of 9 took over. The Constitution of 1974 had already devolved most federal authority to the republics. Inflation ran into 4 figures. In 1986, Slobodan Milosevic became head of the League of Communists of Serbia. On the 23rd of March, 1989, the Serbian Assembly stripped Kosovo of its autonomy. The 28th of June, 1989, marked 600 years to the day since the Serbian Prince Lazar was defeated by the Ottoman Sultan Murad in 1389. At the Gazimestan monument on the Kosovo field, A crowd estimated at over 1 million assembled. Slobodan Milosevic stood at the microphone. He spoke of Serbian struggles ahead. Armed battles, he said, should not be excluded yet. Behind him, on state banners, the words Brotherhood and Unity still appeared. From that stage, the phrase became a lie, and everyone hearing it knew. In the port of Rijeka, at that same moment, the Galeb sat at its mooring. The saloon was empty. No one had washed the deck since Tito died. On the 25th of June, 1991, Slovenia and Croatia declared independence. Milan Kukan, the head of the Slovenian presidency, signed. The Yugoslav People's Army crossed into Slovenia the following morning. The 10-day war killed 63 combatants and ended on the 7th of July. It did not end the war, it moved it. By April of 1992, Sarajevo was surrounded. History records the treaties and the speeches. It rarely records the names of the 17-year-olds. Sarajevo was encircled on the 5th of April, 1992. The siege lasted 1,425 days. It was the longest siege of a capital city in modern warfare. Casualty counts vary from around 11,000 to 14,000 dead. More than 1,000 were children. Srebrenica was declared a United Nations safe area in 1993. In July of 1995, forces under General Ratko Mladic entered the town. 8,372 Bosniak men and boys were killed within days. The International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia later ruled it a genocide. Radislav Krstić was convicted in 2001. Radovan Karadzic was convicted in 2016. On the 22nd of November, 2017, Ratko Mladic was sentenced to life in prison. You do not need to have been there to understand what a mother sees in a photograph of a mass grave. In Slovenia, Radovan Hrast was by then a free man in a new country. He watched the federation that once imprisoned him kill itself. The camp on Goli Otok had closed in 1988. In his memoir, he describes the limestone shore, the 22 cell blocks, and the practice by which earlier prisoners were forced to beat every new arrival, himself included. The rule that governed the island had a name, and the name was Brotherhood and Unity. He heard it on the news, now with a question mark. He still remembers his prisoner number. The country did not end all at once. It ended in pieces, over years, and what remains is scattered across 7 separate maps. On the 27th of April, 1992, the Rump Federal Republic of Yugoslavia was proclaimed by Serbia and Montenegro. It dissolved on the 5th of June, 2006. Kosovo declared independence on the 17th of February, 2008. Where one country stood, 7 now stand. In the port of Rijeka, the Galeb is docked again. Between 2019 and 2024, the city restored her at the local shipyard. Visitors walk through the saloon where Tito hosted Gamal Abdel Nasser, Nikita Khrushchev, Muammar Gaddafi, Indira Gandhi, Elizabeth Taylor, and Richard Burton. The engines do not run. Goli Otok is reached by tourist ferry from the island of Rab. 22 ruined cell blocks stand where prisoners were once forced to beat each other for survival. Radovan Hrast is a witness whose testimony is studied by historians. The motto is on no government building. It is on the walls of a museum ship near the photographs of dead statesmen. The words are Bratstvo I jedinstvo, meaning brotherhood and unity. A country of 23 million people now exists nowhere.